Welcome. I am Carol Larson, Chair of the Osseo Celebration Committee for the 150th anniversary of the City of Osseo. This is a special video that we put together. Ann Schneider is the Vice Chair of the committee, and Ken Schneider is the video editor and producer of this video. Now, the video is in place of a celebration ceremony that we had planned for September that was rained out. So many of the things in this video are just from the program that would have occurred in September. And we're very grateful that everybody was excited about the special video in place of that ceremony. We give a special thanks to the Osseo Lions Club because they had given us generous contributions so that our book could be published. And also to the Maple Grove Historical Preservation Society, who had given us permission to be a part of their 501c3 that allowed us to move funds and money back and forth during our year-long celebration, which we had events every single month. So we welcome you to this event. The things that you're going to see are pretty much from the program that would have occurred in September.
Hi, I'm Dwayne Poppy, the Mayor of the City of Osseo. It's been an honor to serve during this remarkable milestone, Osseo's 150th anniversary. First, I want to extend a heartfelt thanks to the 150th Celebration Volunteer Committee, whose passion has been instrumental in guiding this biggest celebration in Osseo's history. 150 years ago, on March 1875, our city incorporated with just 215 residents. Today, we are 2,700 strong, a testament to our growth and warmth in community spirit. Osseo's origins trace back even further to 1852, when legendary frontiersman Pierre Bottineau first saw the land and exclaimed, "This is paradise." As we stand here 150 years after incorporation, let us celebrate the values that have shaped Osseo: friendship, service, heritage, and hope. The journey from a tiny village of 215 to a vibrant community, nearly 2,700, inspires us to continue to build a place where every voice matters. Whether you're rediscovering Osseo's remarkable past or envisioning our future, know that you are part of something enduring and special. Thank you for being here and contributing your time, your spirit, and love to this tiny little hamlet of good living we call Osseo.
Hi. As part of the 150th Birthday Planning Committee, I drew the lucky straw in introducing Mr. Kevin Kling. Kevin is an Osseo High School grad, class of 75. In 2025, we not only celebrated Osseo High School's class of 1975's 50th reunion, but Osseo High School's 100th birthday and the City of Osseo's 150th birthday. I would like to share that Kevin is an Osseo grad, but he's also a very great friend. We were fellow thespians. Kevin and I met in the theater arts program. One of our favorite productions together was the show You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, where I played Lucy, but Kevin played Snoopy. And my favorite part of Kevin in that role was that he always looked adorable wearing his Red Baron aviator hat. It was one of the bright spots of the show. Kevin has performed his stories and bringing his laughter and his wonderful sense of humor around the world. He's been awarded fellowships from the National Endowment for the Arts, the McKnight Foundation, the Minnesota State Arts Board, the Bush Foundation, and the Jerome Foundation. In 2014, Kevin was named the Minneapolis Story Laureate. We're proud to have Kevin share several of his stories with us about his memories of Osseo and growing up in the Osseo area and being a graduate of Osseo High School. We hope you enjoy them as much as we have enjoyed them and as much as he's enjoyed celebrating that he is from the Osseo area. Enjoy his performances. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Kevin Kling and I graduated from Osseo in 1975. Well, I grew up in Brooklyn Park and Maple Grove, so I guess technically I'm from the suburbs of Osseo. But when people ask where I'm from, I say Osseo. So when the first settlers arrived, they called the town Paradise. That was our first name. And the early town leaders decided to make Paradise last longer, they'd freeze it for half the year, which is what they still do. In time, the name was changed to Osseo, and it's an Ojibwe word for the son of the evening star. Over the years, the Twin Cities has tried many times to come out and claim us as a suburb, but we will not be assimilated. And I think part of it's to do with our unmatched stubbornness in our people. Now, I've got it too. We will not be moved by pleading, threats, bribery, or common sense. Our move to change is nothing short of glacial. I like that. Over 150 years, there have been many generations that have added to the legacy of Osseo. And today, I'd like to share a poem that I wrote for this occasion, kind of an ode to our generation's contribution to this pantheon. I come from potato fields, from gravel pits and open plains, from giant elms that line the streets, from where everything important happened between two cemeteries and two water towers. I come from the generation who heard their first classical music from an ice cream truck, from the legendary blizzards and 1965 tornadoes. 7 of them hit our area. I come from several pandemics, including the disco fever of 1978. I come from before the highway, and before the highway before that, and before the highway before that. From the 6 o'clock siren and kids on bikes following fire trucks like baby ducks. From where we don't just know the business on Main Street, we know everybody's business. I come from St. Paul's, the Lutheran Church, the Methodist Church, and St. Vincent's, from the Harvest Festival, the second Sunday in every August, where you could, in the basement of St. Vincent's, get a chicken dinner with mashed potatoes, and I mean the best pies on the planet. I come from the Ben Franklin store, coast to coast, Vince's Drug, George's Barbershop, and Don's Barbershop, where you could ask for any kind of haircut you wanted. Well, you could ask, but you were getting a number 3 Clifford cut. I come from the softball teams and meat raffles at Dick's Bar, from legendary names like Setzler and Joyner and Smith and Zaffi, Martinez, Osada, Potvin, Weber, Blessy, Schreiber, Kilmer, Lurbs, Trombley, McLean, Fino, and Getchell, from Kilmer, Princeton, Hersch, and Hartkoff. I come from meet me at the VFW, or meet me behind the bleachers, or meet me at the water tower, you know which one. From the dairy barn behind the junior high, where a farmer once told us he had invented a cow that gave both milk and cookies, but he said he didn't recommend the cookies. From the best sweet corn and tomatoes, from Potvin's or Fish Box or Fair's Market. From the fires that claimed the Wilms Dairy Barn, the Round Table Restaurant, Bob's on Central, King's Bar, which the news sent grown men to weeping. From under the watchful and ever-present eyes of Osseo mothers, where any mother had the permission to reprimand any kid by any method for any reason. I come from tree forts, dirt clod fights, easy bake ovens, creepy crawlers, chatty Cathy, Matchbox and Hot Wheels, and no, G.I. Joe is not a doll, it is an action figure. From toys like lawn darts and slip and slides, well water out of hot hoses. We played bombardment and threw stinky hard rubber balls at the heads of other children. Oh, as part of the presidential fitness plan. I come from Sipes Park, a playground giant slide and swings at the Park Brook, where the swing went high enough where you could see the blinking lights of Fauché Tower. From the Wonder Bread bags and boots, and by February there'd be 6 or 7 bags crammed in the toe, and Mom would pull it out and say, "Hey, I'll save this one for sandwiches." waiting to hear the words from the Osseo Public and Parochial on WCCO radio for the school closings on a snow day. From Axel's Treehouse and Carmen the Nurse, Clancy the Cop, Lunchtime with Casey and Roundhouse, Duck, Duck, Gray Duck. I come from Kick the Can, Capture the Flag, You Better Be Home by the time Marty Martinez blows his whistle. And if you heard your middle name, you were in trouble. I'm from having root beer at the Tasty Freeze with the baseball team that had just beat us. From looking for half a tooth at Skateland from Joiners. I'm from powder blue tuxedos and flower four-length dresses at prom. From awkward slow dancing to Color My World. From the Starlight Drive-In movie theater where we saw our first R-rated movie and dozens of high school kids climbed out of car trunks one at a time like a clown car. I come from muscle cars covered in duct tape, which we called Osseo Chrome. I come from an Oreo mascot with bulging biceps who's been known to crush Spartans and Panthers and Pirates. From Sadie Hawkins, Snow Days, Homecoming, from the best teachers on the planet. From that time when the cops figured out someone was using slugs instead of quarters at the car wash. But according to James Hersch, it was not James Hersch. From the time someone streaked Osseo High School hallway on a motorcycle. Oh, again, not James Hersch. I come from where helping people isn't a courtesy, it is a practicality. I come from the lion's roar, where the Osseo is the star and we are its constellation. Each one of us a bit of light in the darkness. And where some of our stars, although not burning any longer, still send us their light. My dad used to say you can go anywhere if you know where you're from. And I'm from Osseo.
Hello, Osseo, and happy 150th birthday. Thank you so much for inviting me to help celebrate with you today. So Osseo's story is a great encapsulation of Minnesota's story. From humble agricultural beginnings, you have grown into a strong, tightly knit community where people are proud to live and to work and to raise families. It's clear how special this community is from your commemorative book. Not every town has the kind of people who will take time out of their day to find photos from decades back to appreciate their town's history. But that's just the kind of people Minnesotans are. We appreciate the towns and the places that raised us, the communities where we raised our families and where we grew old, and even the ones we called home for only a short while. I want to say a special thanks to Carol Larson and Bill Schreiber for organizing this event, even after Minnesota's weather decided to rear its head before the original celebration in September. I was so proud to work with so many of you to help secure $500,000 in federal funding for the Boorboom Memorial Veterans Park expansion project, and I hope to visit Osseo soon to see wonderful progress being made. I'm glad that you are all still finding time to celebrate, and congratulations on 150 years.
My name's Kevin Kling. I graduated in 1975, and we were the golden class, the 50th class, so we got to wear golden robes to commemorate the event. And at our graduation, there were actually people from the 50th class. I'm from that first class, and I remember getting to meet them, and we talked. Their high school dance was at Charleston. We had the bump, the hustle, and the funky chicken. They said things like the bee's knees and you're the cat's pajamas. And we had groovy and far out and what it is. Their hairdos back then were called bobs, and we had shags and mullets. And we're talking about all the technology and the things we've seen in our lives. I'm thinking all the changes they saw, all the changes we've witnessed. I mean, who knew that AV person setting up the opaque projector, they had the Alice Cooper t-shirt, they were going to rule the world one day. Now we have STEM in schools, STEM. It's an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I was remembering, we had STEM back in Osseo in my day. It was called study hall, truancy, excused absence, and makeup day. I remember Mrs. Keller. She was my favorite teacher. Miss Keller was my third grade teacher, fiery red hair. Oh man, I just loved her. She really understood me. I found a report card from Miss Keller not long ago, And in it, she wrote at the bottom, her handwriting, it says, "Kevin has no understanding of the material, but I'm not worried about him." She totally understood me. One thing Miss Keller instilled in us, I remember, was there was a janitor at Park Brook, and his name was Ray. And he always wore gray shirts and pants, and he had this huge keyring that he carried around all the time. He seemed to be everywhere. I mean, you could barely throw up or pee your pants, and there he was with that green stuff, that sawdust, and drip, 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 it'd be gone before you even knew it. I remember Miss Keller made sure that we didn't call him a janitor. She said, he is a custodian. She said, a janitor is a very important job. They clean up. But a custodian is a caretaker, and he was taking care of us. And I've never forgotten that. Ray, the custodian. Back in that time in high school, we had that hair, that hockey hair we called it. It was called hockey hair because it was short on top, long in the back. So you could wear your hockey helmet, but still have cool looking hair. Now, a few years ago, we always got our hair cut at this barber. You could get a shag at this barber in Coon Rapids. And so years ago, I'm down in New Orleans, and I see these guys. This is in the 80s. So they're sitting there, they had hockey hair. So I tell these guys I'm sitting with, I go, "Hey, you guys, I know where those guys are from." They go, "No, you don't." I said, "Bet you $5. Okay." So I go over and I said, "Are you guys from Coon Rapids?" And they go, "No." "Oh, God dang." And they go, "Blaine." Oh, God. I said, "But you got your hair cut in Coon Rapids." They go, yeah, at that guy. They totally knew who the barber was. I played on a baseball team, Eagle Lake team, and we had uniforms that did not fit. We looked like the Italian army. We had Mark Paddock, Kevin Koontz, Eddie Schumacher was our catcher. Eddie was tiny. I mean, that catcher's gear, he looked like a Shar-Pei. It just was huge. And one time we're playing Weaver Lake. These guys had really good guys on their team. They had the Herberg, the Doobie brothers, Kenny and Brian, I mean, the original Doobie brothers. And I remember Brian Doobie came running home and he smashed into Eddie Schumacher. And I mean, we had to go up into the stands to find some of his catcher's gear. I was on that team. Mr. Haynes was our coach, and he'd yell, "Good eye, Kev, good eye." Good eye was actually code for don't swing the bat. Because if I never swung the bat, I would walk to first every time. Because I was little. I wasn't little, I was tiny. And I had no strike zone. I mean, the number of my shirt was tucked into my pants. So he'd yell, "Good eye," and I wanted to swing so bad because Cheryl Ludwig was in the stands. I had the biggest crush on Cheryl Ludwig. But I remember one time, I thought, I'm going to swing no matter what. So the pitcher pitched the ball, and I closed my eyes. I just swung, and it rolled harmlessly down the third baseline. I run to first as fast as I could. The third baseman picks it up, throws it to first, but it bounces off the first baseman's leg. So I run to second. I round second to head to third. I mean, this might not ever happen again as long as I live. I round third, and my whole team yells, "No." I hit home plate as the ball goes over the catcher's head, and who's running toward me? Oh, not Mr. Haynes. No, we have a talk later. No, it was Cheryl running up, and she picked me up high over her head.
Hello, Osseo, and happy 150th anniversary. I'm Kelly Morrison, and I have the honor of representing Minnesota's 3rd District in Congress, which includes Osseo. During these unprecedented times, we need reasons to get together and have cause for celebration. Whether you grew up in Osseo, have lived here for a long time, or just moved here, I'm sure you know that this city is a special community to call home. A unique part of our congressional district is that we are one of the most civically engaged districts in the entire country. That is certainly true here in Osseo, and this celebration is proof of it. It's even in Osseo's mission statement, which encourages community involvement to do what is best for the mutual benefit of all of us. Everyone in Osseo shows up for each other, and that is inspiring. And I want you to know that my office is here to show up for you too. My team and I want to hear from you. Whether you have a policy idea or you're in need of help from a federal agency, we are here. Some of the cases my team is working on include helping to expedite passports, provide assistance with the IRS, and help with immigration cases. Our team is ready and available to help to directly advocate for you. We're committed to making sure your voices are heard. Knowing what's important to you is fundamental for me to do my job, which is to represent you. My commitment to you is that I will do everything I can to make Minnesota's 3rd District, including Osseo, a thriving place to live, work, and enjoy. Congratulations on 150 years, and here's to the next 150.
Hi. On behalf of the Osseo 150th Birthday Planning Committee, I'd like to introduce Mr. James Hersch. James, like Kevin Kling, is an Osseo High School grad, class of 1974. Kevin and James were good friends growing up and remain close friends today. James has always been passionate about music. He's been referred to not as a folk singer, but as a man who sings for folks. His songs tell stories that come alive and speak of days gone by. He fills us with hope, memories, and light. James is renowned as a stage performer, film score composer for PBS TV, and for his work providing music for shelters, prisons, hospice, and Head Start programs. He's been enshrined in the National College Coffeehouse Hall of Fame and has won the prestigious Telly and Harry Chapin Award. I'm honored to introduce James because he's also a friend of mine. Since high school, we have performed together at many venues around the Twin Cities. James was also an athlete in high school and became well known for starting sing-alongs in the hallways of hotels on spring break trips. We're proud to have James share a video of a song he wrote about my father, Pete Fino, a longtime chief of the Osseo Fire Department, as well as several other instrumentals throughout this celebration video. We hope you enjoy his performances.
Fire bell rang on the side of the house. We were hanging out in the backyard. Peter hurried off in the car down 2nd Avenue, and right behind on our bikes the fire siren blew on the water tower. The water tower, that big silver water tower. And if we got there in time to see the firemen roll, jumping in their boots, pulling on their coats and their black fire helmets. But Peter's helmet was white, 'cause Peter was the boss. There was a wave and a yell and a ring of the bell, and the fire truck was off from the water tower. The water tower, that big silver water tower. And I remember a big moon shining off silver lining. One time on a dare, my sister and a boy climbed way up there to the top. Said you could almost see tomorrow. Now Peter's passed on, and I remember that day. They put his box on the fire truck and they drove away. And it made me smile to see. I will not forget, on top of that box, a white fire helmet. And they drove him by the water tower. The water tower, that big silver water tower. The water tower, the water tower, that big silver water tower.
So when I was in grade school, we had what was called social dance, which was a dance class with all the different kinds of dances, the rumba, the samba, the tango. And the teacher would put a record on the record player. And one of those record players, you could hit it with a medicine ball and it wouldn't skip. You could see vinyl peeling up from behind the needle. And all the boys were against one side of the gym, all the girls against the other. The teacher would blow her whistle, and that was our cue to find a dance partner. And I'd run out. None of the girls wanted to dance with me. I was little. I wasn't little, I was tiny, and they didn't want to dance with me. I mean, their bodies were just changing. They didn't want some little head there. And so they would all part away, except there's Joan Quinlivan. And Joan and I would dance every time. She had an early growth spurt. So she was taller, I was shorter, and I'd wear my sweater with stretchy sleeves. Joan would pull out one sleeve, pull out the other, and I'd be inside dancing at the ends of my sleeves. And so that didn't work out. So I decided I'll take driver's ed. I'll get a car, and they'll notice me then. So I took driver's ed from Mr. Story. I don't know if you remember Mr. Story. Mr. Story taught driver's ed, physical ed, industrial ed, special ed, sex ed. He taught all the eds. And he had a movie for all of them. It was basically the same movie. Don't do this, put this here, and start slow. So that didn't work out. So finally, I got in a class with Judy Martinez, and she sat right in front of me. And Judy, I had the biggest crush on Judy. For one thing, she was Catholic, so she was mysterious. She took something called catechism, which was some kind of cross between catacombs and hypnotism. So Catholic, she was forbidden territory. So I had a big crush on Judy, but I didn't think she wanted anything to do with me. And then one day she turns and she says, from the words of Yeats, come away with me and ride to the land of tumulus tide, where love's first blush has never flown and faith has ever grown. And I will give you 100 hounds and 100 robes of murmuring silk and honey and oil and wine and milk, and 100 shields and 100 bows, and fleece as white as sea foam flows. And 100 youths, merry as birds, will dance with the speed of salmon herds and obey your every whim. She sighed, and then, but it grows late, and love and music and sleep await. Or maybe she asked to borrow a pencil. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing at that time. When she would enter the room, I would try to make the seconds last longer than they are. One more second, Judy. One more second. One more second. The cracked cup of love, after all, is in constant need of filling. And when Judy tells me I look good, oh man, I believe it. When a man is in love and he looks in a mirror, he sees exactly what he's being told. I was torn apart in love and rebuilt in her eyes. And like star-crossed Italian lovers, I, like Dante, would march into the underworld's gaping gate for her. And she, like Sophia Loren, throwing a basin of water off the balcony, shouting, but Mama, I love him. But alas, Judy and I didn't last. The year ended and we parted ways. And I missed her so terribly. But, I found out that in time, the places that used to make me miss her most are now the ones that bring her back to me. And that's the way love works. I think that it's like, luckily in this day and age, I've found love anew. But I look back at how long does love last in your heart? And I remember I was at my brother's wedding, and I remember the band was playing. I look over and there's my grandmother, and she wants to dance. So grandmother, do you want to dance? And we get up. I'm doing a terrible job. And I remember what my Uncle Johnny taught me. He said, Kevin, if you're having trouble dancing, just cinch him in. So I cinched Grandma in, and we were dancing. I was dancing for the first time in my life with my grandmother. And I thought, hey, I'm going to catch her eye. Like, we're really cutting a rug. But I looked down, and her eyes were closed. And she was smiling. I don't know who she was dancing with, but it sure wasn't me.
Happy anniversary, Osseo. 150 years is no small milestone. This celebration reminds us that Osseo isn't just a dot on the map, it's home. Osseo may be a small city, just under 3,000 residents in 1 square mile, but as you all know, small does not mean insignificant. In fact, I think being small is exactly what makes Osseo so special. Everyone knows and supports each other. come together in ways that bigger cities often envy. Osseo is truly a little city with a whole lot of heart. Anniversaries like this give us a chance to look back with pride, but also to look forward with hope. Osseo's story has always been one of resilience, of neighbors caring for neighbors, and of a community that truly knows how to stand together. Happy anniversary.
Hi, everybody. This is Representative Hulda Mumanyi Hiltsley here. I am standing in the beautiful city of Osseo, and I'm honored to represent Osseo at the state capitol. And here we are celebrating 150 years of rich history and heritage. As we sit here and look at what is unique about Osseo, I have to say it is the history that makes up this city. It is the people who have built this community over the last 158 years. And what do I love most about Osseo? It's the uniqueness that it has. It is a small town, but has heart. It is the heartbeat of Minnesota. And so as we sit here and celebrate 150th year, I want to let you all know I am proud to represent Osseo at the state capitol, making sure that we have thriving schools, thriving communities, safe communities, thriving small businesses, because I truly believe 100 years of growth and development that we have come a long way. And I know that the next 150 years is going to be another round of magical work that we will continue to do together. So with that, here's to you, Osseo. Happy 150th anniversary. Here's to another 150th years to come. Thank you, and we are truly stronger together.
Now, when I was in junior high at Osseo, I took band class. I played trumpet, third chair. The week after I got my trumpet, though, my brother threw a pencil down the end, which I thought gave it a nice smoky sound, but the band director thought differently. And every year he'd bring me in and have a heart-to-heart talk with me where he'd say, you know, Kevin, there's other avenues of expression you might want to try. I'd go, no. And he'd say, well, you can't stay in band. I'd say, well, I can't join choir. I'm tone deaf. He'd say, I know. And I would cry and cry and cry, and he would leave me in band. Last year, in the worst band, the cadet band, it was all 7th graders and me, a 9th grader. And we were really bad. I used to think at the Wall of Jericho, we could have prevented structural damage, because I'm sure the Canaanites would have just said, just stop and we'll come out. Please, just stop. Now, I had to admit I was part of the problem, because whenever we would play a song and finish, well, I always had a little extra music left over to play. Or the band I would finish and the band would keep going. And so I'd have to pick my horn and pretend I had more to do. But one time I was playing the Hogan's Heroes March, and lo and behold, I finished at the same time as the band. It was like a miracle. And then the band director goes, very good, band. And now we'll play the Hogan's Heroes March. Well, so I'm in band, and the best time of year to be in band was the summer, because that was marching band. And I mean, the best thing, we had uniforms, orange and black, those high beefeater hats and the wool uniforms. And I got my uniform home. Oh man, I was so excited. But since I was so little, they'd given me a girl's uniform, so it had darts. But I was so little that the darts went in on my chest. And my mom said, don't worry, Kevin, I can fix them. My mom spent the night taking out those darts, and the next day I had a uniform just like all the other people. I couldn't believe it. Then the best thing about band, though, was the songs, because any song can be a marching band song, like hello darkness my old friend, do good, do good, do good, do good, silence is golden, golden, do good. See that tree, how big it's grown. Tequila. And then we would march, Mr. Sand, the band director leading us, we would march up and down the streets of Osseo, getting ready for parades. But the only parade we were in was the Osseo Lions Parade. And in those days, it was just us, the marching band, and a float. It was kind of a float. It was a pickup truck from the senior residence, and in the back were 4 people sitting around a card table playing bridge. They didn't even look up. I'm like, come on, somebody tell them they're in a parade. So anyway, Mr. Sands comes up to us one day and announces to the whole band, we've been invited to a parade, a real parade. The Old Milwaukee Day Parade in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Oh man, we couldn't believe it. So we practiced up and down the streets of Osseo. Kids following us, shouting taunts, Mr. Sands yelling controls, and we turned into this well-oiled machine. So we got on the bus and we made our way to Milwaukee. And we get off the bus, all kinds of bands, all kinds of uniforms, like blues and whites and reds and purples and all kinds of colors. And we got set up and we got ready to go. And I look out front, oh man, Mike Merchek, our drum major, and he's sitting there with his size 15 shoe. He would kick the heavens, and he was in an all white uniform, just like ours, but all white, with that high white beefeater hat. He looked like this giant Q-tip. And we lined up and got ready to go when all of a sudden Mr. Sands says, wait, ho, ho, ho. He says, take these salt pills. He says, if you get too hot, because it was like 98 degrees out, and those beefeater hats were like solar collectors. I mean, we were already just sweating like crazy. So we take these, right away, we just take the salt pills. Then Mr. Sands gets us ready to go when all of a sudden this official jumps in front of us and he says, ho, wait, okay, bring him in. And they brought in the 40-horse Clydesdale team, 40 horses in front of us and no cleanup crew. So in 5 minutes, we're about ready to start, 98-degree heat and a horse fun factory right in front of us. Okay, we're still going to do it. We're going to do it. We have trained this. And Mr. Sand, we've trained this. I thought we had this thing licked, because right off the bat, we would sing MacArthur Park, 25 or 6 to 4. We would hit them with Hogan's Heroes March, followed by MacArthur Park, and then finally 25 or 6 to 4. It was a foolproof plan. So we start off and we see the judges ahead of us. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, the front row flutes drops. They just fall. Oh man, they hit something slick and they hop back up. One flute player leaving her flute behind, miming a flute as she walked. And Mr. Sand is shouting encouragement. And he said, okay, hit him, boys, hit him. We hit the judging stands 25 or 6 to 4. After the parade, we all laid around. Oh man, all these uniforms in a big pile, all the reds and purples and golds and blues and whites. And we all were laying there. And even the seniors said, no, this was the worst. And Mr. Sand came around one at a time and told us how he was proud of us, how we had done such a great job. And he came up to me and he says, bet you won't need rocking to sleep tonight, Kling. I said, no, sir, I won't. And he said, how about next year we try you on tuba? Tuba. There would be a next year. I fell asleep that night with tubas dancing in my head.
Hi, my name is Nick Torres, and I just wanted to say happy birthday, Osseo, 150 years. So awesome, and I'm so proud to be able to represent this community, and looking forward to another 150 years, the great city of Osseo. Thanks.
Congratulations to the city of Osseo on 150 years. Here's to 150 more.
I've heard our class was called the lucky generation. And you know, I would agree with that. Although we just experienced Vietnam, Richard Nixon, Watergate, but looking back, there was still an innocence then. And I feel lucky. And in fact, when I went to Osseo, you probably, if you knew me, I have a disability, but I was surrounded by a community and I wasn't ever treated any different or special. It didn't matter how smart or beautiful or how rich you were. there came a way that if you were going to a party, we would all just pile into a car, and you would find yourself sitting next to a kid with pocket protectors and thick glasses. Well, actually, that could have been me. But there might be a cheerleader or two, a stoner, a football star, a Mensa math student, all piled into the same car, all headed to the same party. And that's how I mostly remember my class. Whatever our differences, we all felt like we were headed toward the same party. We didn't know the triumph and the pitfalls that lay before us. And at that time in 75, we were going through a threshold and into a new world. And in some ways, we were unprepared. But in other ways, we were open and ready and excited for anything that came our way. So we weren't perfect, but we were golden.